Hey, how's it going, everyone? We are going to do a portfolio review today. It's very exciting. Barry Colors put up his portfolio for us to review, so I hope that you learned something, and I hope that Barry learned something. I hope Barry gets something out of this. Right off the top, if you are a subscriber and you have a portfolio you would like me to review, whether it's color or comics or whatever, like, I can review it. I'm a professional. I look at line art all day. Even if it's line art, I can handle it. Like, trust me. Give me that portfolio. Let me at that. So yeah, we're gonna get started here in like just a second. But I also wanted to talk to you about how Cave Carson #6 came out this week. I finished it and then totally blanked that I was still working on it because I got so wrapped up in Umbrella Academy, the book that replaced it in the schedule, that it just wiped the last issue from my mind. So when I saw people tweeting about giving me all the Young Animal love and giving the whole team the Young Animal love, I was very thankful. Thank you for that. And the last issue is on stands now. Trade should be coming in soon. I don't know. I don't exactly know when. I should probably know these things before I jump online. But yeah, you guys should pick it up. We did 18 issues. It's some of like, I don't know if it's the best work in my career, but it's certainly the most fun. And I think that shows. I think that comes through. All right. Without further ado, let's jump into it. What? Wait, everybody cool out. Cool out. What we're going to do first is I just want to say that this is Barry throwing up his portfolio for us, and this is the second time he's done this. He did this about 6 months ago. He was the first one to throw up portfolio for me to review, and he is the first one to come for a second review. It was 6 months ago, which I believe is the appropriate amount of time. I was once told by an editor that when I was in school, I've talked about this before on stream, but when I was in school, art school was like, submit all the time, put your portfolio in front of the same editors every single day forever, beat them into the ground with your portfolio. Like, that was the message that I got from art school. And then when I talked to editors, now that I'm a professional, and I was like, so this is what they told me back then, like, should I have been doing that? And they tell me no. They tell me that I should be submitting a portfolio about every 6 months. So that's what you want to be thinking about if you are looking to break into comics, whether it's coloring, art, writing, whatever you want, whatever you're submitting, you want to do it twice a year. And it takes a little bit of the pressure off you, because it's like, if you're maintaining a website and maintaining the website is a pain in the ass, like, guess what? You only got to do it twice a year. Think about it like that. So just like pick two dates 6 months apart and update. That said, we are 6 months from Barry's last portfolio review, which means he's in the sweet spot. So we're going to see some growth here, and I'm excited about it. Let's jump in. So this is what we got. Barry gave us a ArtStation link like he did last time. If you guys remember the last time, and if you don't, there is the YouTube vids. You can go back and watch it. I'm gonna be talking nonstop, so I'm trying to hydrate. You can go back and watch it. One of the things that Barry did originally was he just like put every single thing he had ever done on like the ArtStation. Like, the thing was like pages and pages, and like it was out of control, like to the point where I was like, I don't know where to look. Like, I don't know what's your new work, I don't know what's your old work, and your old work was bogging down your new work. And this is something that I preach all the time. Like, it's fine to just like non-stop go with like a Instagram or a Twitter feed or whatever, but please, for the love of God, focus your portfolio into just a few pieces. like 10 to 15 pieces, and then you're done. And that's what Barry did here. That's what we got here. We have a Hellboy page. We got, well, there's more pages in here. Hellboy page, Stray Bullets pages from the Ultimate Portfolio, Next Wave pages from the Ultimate Portfolio, Bone pages from the Ultimate Portfolio. All of these pages I'm going to make available soon. We might do a Friday stream where we kind of like talk about this stuff, and then also tweak the Batman pages, because that's what's holding me back, is I got to carve out time to tweak the Batman pages. There's a Long Halloween sample page here, the Blackout stuff, which I think is unchanged from the original portfolio, and then a Conan Red Sonja page from the original portfolio, and that was like tweaked and changed, and then a Critical Hit from the original portfolio that is tweaked and changed. The first thing that jumps out to me is this is the only pinup. This is the only single image in the whole thing, which is perfect. That is where you want to be. That is the sweet spot, because like you don't want to you want to be like, I'm a comic artist, take me seriously, here are comics. You don't want to be like, I'm a comic artist, take me seriously, here's a bunch of pinups. You know, like it doesn't tell you, the editor, that you're ready to work. And this portfolio tells the editor that you're ready to work. This is what you got. And I know, just from Barry posting in the chat, that this stuff is like the new stuff, and this stuff is the old stuff. Let's jump in. We can talk about this Critical Hit page first. So last time we talked to Barry, I was saying that, you know, you got to make the fire brighter, you got to give it a little bit of life, and he did that. He also, I think, shifted the tones to like a little more red. This piece was a little more blue originally. So here is a screenshot from our old portfolio review, and this was the original page. So clearly there is growth between this and this. Now granted, that's a low res screenshot, so you got to take it with a grain of salt. But yeah, there's clearly growth. The big difference between these two pages is that, you know, there's a unifying palette. Like this has like kind of blue smoke, which is folding into like the blue in the people's clothing. The fire doesn't read as hot, and Barry went in and like fixed all, and then the sky was kind of flat. Barry went in and like fixed all this stuff. If you look at this, he's put a slight grad. He could probably go further. Put a slight grad from the base to the top. You can absolutely go further with this, because everything is on fire. Like, the thing about fire and like dramatic light sourcing is that you can pull like crazy gradients, like really dark to light. You can make it stark contrast, like the artist did here, where like the figures are like stark contrast, a lot of like shadows. So you could even, Barry, you could even like pull this more if you wanted to. And then the smoke, he warmed it up, made it look a little better. It's like still kind of competing with the figures a little bit. You could like just knock all the smoke back, and like kind of fade it into the background a little more. But other than that, like, and pulling the grad, like, this guy's done. Put it to bed. Like, you could work the figures a little bit more, but I don't think you want to spend any more time on this than you've already spent, because I think it's like diminishing returns. Yeah, everything's on fire. Yeah. I think it's diminishing returns. Like, you want to focus on stuff that is going to get you gigs and work. And I think that even if you made this piece totally sing, it's not going to get you any more or less work than how it is right now. All right, can we go back? Yeah, we can go back. I guess we'll do all the new stuff to old stuff. So, this is the Red Sonja stuff. We gave him some like kind of specific critiques. Some of them he executed on, some of them he didn't. This was the original. I wonder if we can get, can I get like, hold on. Let me see if I can get it back to back. I can't get it back to back. I'm struggling. Hold on here, internet. Everyone wait for me. Obviously, this is like low resolution, high resolution, but the newest one is on the left, old one on the right. And there's a couple things that are going on that are like a little bit subtle. Barry used what I assume is he used a little bit of sliders, the color balance, to make this one look just slightly more blue. You can see it in the skin tones. Like this one's a little bit of red, and it's a stormy day. It should be a little more blue. Should be a little different. He also fixed the core of the lightning to be whiter. He also put like a little bit of sun behind the clouds, making it a little less flat. Still, so if you remember in the last portfolio review, hey Graffiti Bandit, and Nimish and Fake McCoy and everyone else watching, if you remember in the last portfolio review, we talked about how this was one of his more successful pages. And the reason that we talked about this being one of the more successful pages is because at the time, Barry was using a lot of textures and it was flattening things out. It was confusing the image. And even though he was using textures for this, and still is, it wasn't confusing the image. However, 6 months have gone by. Barry has grown by leaps and bounds. And so I think actually this is now one of the weaker pieces in your portfolio, only because it just like doesn't sing as much as the other stuff. Like you're putting in better effort in a lot of these other, even just from the thumbnails. Like this looks better than this, and partially that's because I feel like I gravitate to the art a little better here, and so it's just gonna look better to me. But like also it just we'll get into it. But yeah, like I said, the things that I would work on here, we can actually, the things that I would work on is like, you need to work on like a consistent light source. This guy here is like unfinished. The rock needs like a shadow. Like you kind of put a shadow on the guy. I think it's Conan. I don't know if it's Conan or not Conan. We'll call him Conan. You kind of put a shadow on him, but like didn't really on her. In kind of on her here, and you got the lightning crackling behind her. So when you go to put shadows in, we're gonna do this kind of quick and dirty. When you go to put shadows in, and you have like a light source like this in the background, I'm trying to do this without putting the Cintiq in my lap, so this is gonna be real quick and dirty. If you put like a dark, whoa, that's real dark. If you put like a dark kind of like core in here, you know, like this, so it is real dramatic, and then you can take like this color, this blue here, or we can even use a more saturated blue, and kind of like highlight the hair, put the highlights beyond there, you know, like, so that the lightning is kind of colorizing part of her, you know, something like that. Obviously real quick and dirty, like real quick and dirty, but like this, whenever you have like a hard light source like that, like a lightning or like fire or like, you know, a torch or like a hanging bulb or whatever, you can do this kind of stuff. And you want to treat it like, if you have like, this is your normal tone for the piece. Let's say it's yellow, your normal tone for the piece, right? And then you have the shadows that you put down. So like shadows. So you have light area, you have shadow, and then you have like the hard highlight, like that. So that way it creates this, even with this like square, we're creating this like kind of like curved round edge. And that's what you want to think about when you have like hard light sources like lightning. I would also, don't be afraid to like really light up the lightning. Like I see a lot of, in these pages in general, because I checked them out before we'll go into every page, but in general, I see a lot of like, you're not as confident as maybe you should be. Like you should be wanting to try stuff out. Like I would rather you take it too far than not take it far enough. And like you can go in and like add in some like, you know, just like this is just screen grads in there, and it lights up the lightning. And like, you know, you can you know, take this panel and throw a multiply grad from the bottom to the top, and it kind of like keeps you here. Like you're not looking down here and the lightning is crackling and you're looking at Red Sonja's face. And like maybe it's not where you want to be looking, but that's a whole other can of worms. My eyes are up here. Stream. My eyes are up here. So, but yeah, so you want to think about that kind of stuff. Yeah. And then the same is true here. There we go. Back to the regular thing. So you have lightning here, which is like a light source. And then the interior of the castle is the same as the exterior of the castle. Like this should be darker in here, and this should be kind of like highlighted out here. And I know the artist didn't really draw it that way, but they should have. Yeah, I mean, we've said a lot about this piece between the last portfolio review and this one. I still think you could tweak it. I don't think that... So here's the thing. You can easily tweak it from here. The only thing that is like glaring that you need to do is fix the rendering. Like the rendering on him kind of like it doesn't know where it wants to be. You have this like hard shadow here, like this hard shadow here, and then you have like this highlight, and then you have a lighter highlight over here, and like I just don't know what that is. Like I'm just gonna throw down like a bunch of highlights real quick, just top down, because that's kind of how the artist lit him. And I'm just kind of like tracing with shapes like how the artist like laid it out, you know? Like I'm not doing anything like crazy fancy here. That's it. This is like I've like literally traced what the artist put down. And then just like take a grad and like throw it in. And like this makes more sense than what you had down there. Like I think that you wanted to like make him silhouetted, like you kind of wanted to paint this like edge around him like this kind of thing, but it doesn't gel with the art. And part of coloring in general is rolling with whatever the artist put down. Like, you know, the artist we talked about this, like this castle has like an edge to it. So like if it has that edge, you're kind of like locked into, you know, what like fighting the artist is going to be tougher than you know, just like rolling with punches. Like taking this and being like, okay, if it's shadowed here, it's gonna be highlighted over here, we'll just do that, you know? And like suddenly we've added a 3D effect to the wall. The wall looks like it's sitting there in space. And we've rolled with what the artist put down. And so I think that's what's happening here, is that you're trying to do a like rim light with a bounce light on his chest, and it just isn't working. I think fixing that, even if you just took everything on this page, even if you took all the figures and just like picked a color, no shadows, and just like tweaked the color theory, like this page would be successful. Your shadows are your weakest stuff, and I talked about that originally, and this is stuff that like it's not something that just happens. Like you get to figure this stuff out just by doing. Like the more pages you do and the more you're thinking about this, and that's the thing, is like you can't just passively just like bang out pages. Like you got to do pages and think like, okay, how am I going to put down this light? How, like, it works here, especially in the rib cage here. Like you did a pretty good job. It's pale, like it's, you could almost not see the what she has going on here. You can almost not see, like I'm gonna amp it up, and it works what you have going on down here. But I see this page, like I said, doesn't have the confidence that it should. Like these cuts are right, like this one's a little bit of a mess, but like these two cuts are right, and you should roll with the stuff you're getting correct, you know? Make those edges a little harder. Make those cuts a little more dramatic, you know? But yeah, I think we've talked about this page to death. Like I said, I think it's the weakest in the portfolio currently. Blackout pages we talked about before. We don't really have to talk about them again. Only to say that, like, if you are putting something like this in your portfolio, then just in general, not to you, Barry, but like if you are putting something like this in your portfolio, you're watching this, this kind of stuff doesn't really help or hurt you. Like, it's just kind of there. I've done a handful of Zipatone stuff in my career. It's whatever. Like, any colorist worth their salt can usually do this kind of stuff, so you don't necessarily need to highlight it as like, hey, I can also do this thing. Yeah, it's just, it is what it is. It, like, it looks good, it came out well, but like, you also, like, by making it kind of like a period piece, you're robbing yourself of I just said I wasn't going to talk about this thing, and now we're talking about it. You're robbing yourself of like doing interesting things with color, like by locking in, you know, like this is the blue for Batman, and I'm going to do it that same blue for this whole thing. Like, instead of being like, okay, I'm gonna wash the outside with like a dark blue, and then the inside's gonna be like washed with like a 20% light yellow, and then like Catwoman runs down the chute, and the chute's gonna be real dark, but then she gets out in the alleyway and it's like darker but not as dark as the chute. Like, you rob yourself of like that kind of stuff. So yeah, you could keep this stuff. It'd be interesting to see it pushed, just like nudged a little more modern. But yeah, this is also like, if you were gonna hand somebody a portfolio, like not have it on ArtStation. On ArtStation, you have the ability to be like, anybody can click on anything that interests them. So like, they're like, oh, I'm gonna check out this blackout stuff, and then it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pages. If you handed me a portfolio and it had 8 pages of this, I'd be like, why is this in here? So that's something you want to think about as far as like digital versus real life. If you are going to a con and you are handing people portfolio pages, like I wouldn't have 8 pages of Ziptone. I would pick maybe 1 or 2. If you are like dead set on putting it in there. Let's get into the new stuff. This is Long Halloween stuff. This is medium new with what's going on. All right. A couple things going on. This is just single page. So we're going to kind of just ignore this Batman panel because it doesn't really fit into what's going on with the rest of the book. Let's copy it and drop it into Photoshop. So you have this panel where the guy's opening up with the Tommy gun or whatever kind of gun this is. And Richard Daniel gets shot here. I know it's Richard Daniel because they say his name, like James Bond up here. So you want, as far as like storytelling goes, you want this panel to read as like a shot. Like visually, it should be like, hey, I'm getting out of the theater and like everything's fine, and then it should read like shot. You know, like it should be visually like that. So how can we trust your coloring advice when you don't even know the types of guns? Well, I thought it was like a Tommy gun, but then it has this like snub little like Tommy guns have like a longer clip, or the barrel clip. The Thompson. I know about guns a little bit from Call of Duty. So what you want to do is like kind of take this panel, color balance it a little red and yellow, right? You can even take the flare like I was talking about before. You seem a little apprehensive to do this. Take the flare and kind of like flare out the gun barrel there. And then because this is such like a high, and like I was saying with the lightning, like you can go in here and like do really like I'm just gonna take white and just be like, all right, shines of the gun, you know. And then like I'm gonna take this yellow, it's set to screen. Like you can really get in here and like paint this dude's face, like, and not only that, but like you have the chrome of the car. So like that's gonna be like lighting up like crazy. You know, that kind of, this kind of thing. And then the shadows are also gonna be really deep. And if you notice, Tim Sale, like, you see him like he didn't put a lot of like spot black shadows in this panel before, and then he did here. And the reason for that is because he wanted this to be very dramatic. So like you can take, you know, what he's doing and like run with it, you know? And this is like super sloppy, you know, forgive me for this. Tommy guns have that round thing, right? Yeah. The gun knowledge is a thing, not the pages. Yeah. So like, yeah, you can, and then, you know, make the darks. In order to get highs to work really well, they need to have like the, you know, you can't have the light without the dark. So I would take like everything in the car here and darken the hell out of it. Whoa. Yeah, so like now it has like a little bit like more of a visual punch than that. You know, like you really like amp it up, and you want it, and in order to get it to contrast. Hey, Matt Garvey. In order to get it to contrast, you kind of have to lull the reader into like a false sense of security. And like the best way to do that is to take, okay, so we have like an orange like gunfire panel. Graffiti Bandit, thank you for the sub. Welcome to High Society. You could take like so we have like orange on the color wheel here. Opposite of orange on the color wheel is blue. You can just take this and like cool it down, right? So we've cooled down everything. And especially behind here. So like when Tim Sale made this page, he put this giant space behind here. And the reason that he did that was because he wanted to frame these two. He wanted you here. So you don't want to like get in the way of what Tim is doing. And the best way to do that is to like keep that like a lighter, oh my gosh, I'm using multiply. You want to like keep it light. Maybe even white. Yeah, man. Like by keeping it light and keeping everything else like around it kind of darkish, you're like framing it the same way that Tim framed it. And also I would cut this like yellow here, softens the like hard storytelling cut of like the bullets. So I would take that and kind of like, you know, shift it to blue. Something like that. So yeah, just these like little tweaks. If you're thinking about I think the problem is, and this is just conjecture, but I think that the problem is that you're thinking about how to get, oh my God, Brent Schoonover, quit texting me right now. I think that the problem is that you're thinking about trying to unify the palette and trying to like make everything work right. And in doing that, you're not thinking about what the actual story on the page is. And this is why everyone should be doing sequentials. Because if it was just a shot of a guy leaning out of a car, like spraying bullets, that doesn't tell me that you're able to do sequential pages. If you can nail this page, it tells me you can do sequential pages. Now, aside from everything that's going on here, and by the way, I can see what you're thinking about with trying to knock this out and push the hand forward, but it's like it's not working enough in your favor. If you go into the grayscale, you could see that even though you're trying to get like, I see you thinking about it, trying to get the foreground to not work, to not mesh with the background, but like it's just still too similar. A lot of the value is similar except for the gun here. You want to think about that stuff. You want to, when you're working, you can kick it over to grayscale just to see, like, and I would, if I were you have to finish your flat portfolio this weekend. Nice, Graffiti Bandit. You gotta post that in the Discord. If you're working, so you have the advantage of like you are working without any kind of deadlines or anything else. If I were you, I would finish a page, kick it, like, let it sit for a couple of days, rest your eyes, come back to it, put it into grayscale, and take a look at it. And if it's like looking like this with like similar, like this is, God, can you even tell me what this is? We're here in the grayscale. We're like middle of the grayscale. This is like slightly higher, and this is like basically the same, and this is like similar to what this is, and this is a little bit darker here, and then the hair is like the most dramatic difference. This shouldn't be happening. It should look this is gonna be I don't know if this is gonna be good. God, I don't know if this will work. I'm trying to like pull the levels to make it more dramatic, but it's kind of all over the place. But yeah, you get my point. I would come back with fresh eyes, put it into grayscale, see what's working and not working, and then kind of figure it out from there. And like these guys should be the focus. So like even though like everything else is kind of in grays, like you could have gone in here and made, I mean, it's easy in gray tone, but I'm gonna check the chat in a minute, Nimish. I see you in there. Like you can, by like lightening up the coat, like I've like everything else is kind of samey and the coat is very bright, and I've like pulled your focus to the coat and, you know, to the figures, which is like where you want to be. Yeah. So, I mean, there is a caveat with this page as well that I'm going to talk about in a second. But yeah, I feel like you're having like same-ish values kind of across the board on this page. And then I wonder if you're getting same-ish values across the board on other stuff too. Let's see. That's not right. So you're getting kind of same-ish values across the board on this. Like the sky's doing a lot of work to like pop the figures. These guys pop all right with the background. Like this looks good. Lightning's getting good and popped. Like a good amount of contrast. The horse has a good amount of contrast, which is good because you want to be here. But this is also what I was saying with like light and shadows. Like I see you making the right call here, but you got to amp it up. You got to amp it up. Higher highs, lower lows. Is it better to constantly change to grayscale or have a black layer on top with and with color more? Use it to check the values, or is everything the same? I don't know if I necessarily understand what you're asking. Or have a black layer on top. Are you asking if you should be doing the values in grayscale? Color mode? Oh, yeah, okay. I don't work that way. I don't know. I mean, look, I don't work that way. I don't have any experience with that. I don't know if it's going to help or hurt you. I would say try it if you think that doing grayscale work and then doing a color mode layer on top of that and seeing if it works for you. A lot of digital painters work that way. I tried working that way with digital painting and couldn't really, like, I found it very frustrating only because I think that I'm just like hardwired already to be like, I want to put the color down I want, you know, like I think that you're sacrificing a little bit of like freedom, but that just might be because I'm like stuck in my ways. Matt Garvey's still got one page left until your portfolio is done. Nice. Writing and lettering is taking over your life. Yeah, so black color mode layer grayscale is what he's asking. Oh my god. Look, I don't know the technicalities of what you're saying. If you're saying, should you have in your back pocket like this to reference, a black and white image to make sure your values are good, yeah, absolutely. Oh, you're fine, Nimish. Don't worry. It's fine. I understand. Your English isn't your first language. Yeah, you think they do the same thing? Yeah, whatever's quicker for you. Yeah. Should you be checking your values? Should you have good values? Yes. However you get there, more power to you. Like, but especially when you're starting, it's easy to get like in the details of a piece and like not see the forest for the trees. It's easy to get in the details of the piece and not understand that you're putting down the same value over and over and over again, and then you get to the end and you're like, it just looks flat, you know? Because you can look at this and you'd be like, well, this is like a cooler color than this color, so like we're probably fine. But like in reality, it's not working as well as it could. So good values, like giving to charity and stuff. Yes, always check your values. Yeah. So like, if you can push it further, like, and just to give you an example of like, since, you know, we're talking about this panel in particular being kind of flat value. If you take this color in the back and we just screen in a little bit of a grad in here and raise the highlight of that value, that panel works better now. It just works better. And I didn't change any of the color theory, but it does work better. So that's something you want to be thinking about. Here's my 2 cents on Tim's sale pages. This is a problem when you're making a portfolio and you have artists that are very unique. Like, hold on, let me catch this. The K. Michael Russell, of course, tells us to create a top separate layer, fill it with black, then change the mode to color so you can keep checking the values. Huh. Fill it with black. We're gonna try this on the stream. Fill it with black. Change the top mode to color. Oh my god, there it is. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I guess this does a pretty good job of checking the value. Yeah. That's a handy little way to do it. If you want to do it that way. Is it accurate? It looks accurate. It's kind of a little bit different, but it's accurate. Yeah. Yeah, you're good. I think that this is like kind of you put a screenshot in Discord of it. Oh. Yeah. Yeah, this is one of the core tenets of coloring is like, okay, so you got to have decent color theory. That's like one of the pillars. And then like a good value range is the second. And then like good storytelling is the third. And trying to get all these to converge is like where you are going to be the most successful. And so I'm trying to get you there. And part of the reason why, so I know that I saw, you know, hundreds of Local Joe palettes that people are they're putting them in the Discord. There's like hundreds of thousands on like Twitter. They're all over the place, is what I would say if anyone did any of the Local Joe stuff. We made Local Joe for Barry's portfolio originally, where I was like, you should practice your palettes and not think about anything else. And I think that you should also be thinking about value and not thinking about anything else, because these are both separate things that you have to get right to get them to work together. Let me chew on that for a second. Also, Barry, I'm glad you're here and we're not just like, I don't know, speaking to you in the future or whatever. But yeah, let's go back to the portfolio. So yeah, I see you trying to get the color theory to work, and then like especially in here, you're like, well, blues come forward, but it's night, so I'm gonna put blue back here. By the way, one of the things when it's night is when objects are closer to you, they actually lighten. It's whatever you create that distance by being whatever the opposite of the sky is. So if it's night, if the sky is dark, you can pull something forward to you by being light. And if it's daytime, if the sky is light, you can push it forward and closer to you by making it dark. You want to speak to Barry from the future. One thing for coloring in failing to do is build a good color palette. Any tips? We'll talk about color palette. I mean, we talked about it a little bit when I was like, okay, we're going to build it here, build it here. for you know, like a bluish palette and then an orangish palette. But again, that's something that you just gotta like practice. Like we can talk about it a little bit actually with these next wave pages. Let's crack these next wave pages. So these are part of the Ultimate portfolio. One of the reasons why I picked these pages is because it has two different scenes happening at the same place or on the same page. So one of the things that drives me nuts, and this is a good indication of like if you're using good palettes and thinking about color the way you should be, or if you're kind of like on autopilot, is skin tones. So if your Machine Man skin tone here is matching the Machine Man skin tone here, then like you've goofed somewhere. I told you this before with the, I mean, you're getting better at it for sure, like compared to the stuff that you were doing before. But like, I would take like these pages here. We're gonna try to deselect the black and be real dirty. And like they're in space. It's also a flashback. But it doesn't necessarily have to read as a flashback. You can just take this and like wash it with a blue, you know, like you get like real deep with the blue. And then we can go in, and now everything has a little bit of blue in it. So the palette is unified. We can go in and like kind of bring up highs. Like this is the thing, is so the palette's unified, but by washing it with blue, then we are messing with the values. You know, like the values are all getting very similar. So you can kind of go in and you know, up these values, like make these guys feel like they're glowing, especially because like now it's a little dark. You can really make these guys like, you know, glow. Which is like what you want to do. It's where you want to be. And by doing this, you can go to, where's the next page? So like this panel down here, you kind of have like it's like midday sun kind of thing going on. This panel up here where it's in the cold vacuum of space, so we're washing it with blue, and like now we have a distinct difference. Like this visually reads as like, oh, Machine Man is like somewhere else, now he's back in the present, you know, like there's a nice contrast. And the colors that we're gonna pick from, like, you know, this is still reading as skin tone, but it's like this blue gray, and then like this is like this orange, you know, color up here. It shows that you are capable of a wide range of color palette, and that is partially what I wanted to have you guys achieve with these pages. So I would go back and I would think about this kind of stuff. Also, you get a little core of the explosion can be white. Am I not multiplying? Get a little. We're just playing with the mouse here, but yeah, get a little core, because I see you doing like these flares, but they're not quite reading as well as they could. That little core white shadow, and then like a little bit of flare. Done deal. Reads a little bit better. I don't like these. Like some artists will love putting clouds down like this. I think you're using some kind of cloud brush. I would avoid doing this entirely. I mean, some artists like cut and paste clouds in and like do it that way. We could do a whole stream on like clouds from very basic to very advanced, and maybe we should. But like this is kind of all over the place. Like you're getting kind of like hard edges and then not hard edges, and then the whole background kind of like doesn't really read as horizon. When you have a horizon, you have like light on the bottom, darker on the top kind of thing. And we're getting like a stretched infinite kind of horizon. So like just by doing that gives it like a little bit more of a atmosphere. Cloud stream, please. Yeah. Cloud stream sounds really rad. Yeah. We'll do it one of these days. You know what's funny is I talked about doing a cloud stream on Barry's last portfolio review 6 months ago. So like maybe I fucked up along the way too. But yeah, so you can by darkening this stuff up with like a dark blue, just like wash it 30% and kind of like go from there. You can kind of figure out what you want to do. Also, I would say that this is a neat little trick. So you're doing just simple cuts on these guys, and it looks great. And this was tough for me to do early in my career, so don't beat yourself up about this. I was working for Zylonol Studios, and we were doing stuff for Nickelodeon magazine, and I think that I've talked about this before. I'm not sure actually. And it was I was doing a Jimmy Neutron book, and the whole look, Jimmy Neutron's like a 3D rendered show, so they wanted everything to look very 3D. So what we were doing in the studio was like putting a cut in and then throwing a grad through it. And when I watched Lee do it, he did it in like 3 seconds, and he was like, yeah, no problem. Lee Lowridge, who was running the studio, he was like, super easy, takes you like a second, done deal. And then I went home and like put the cuts in and then agonized over pulling each of these grads, because like I couldn't get it to look as effortless as he did. And I can do it no problem now. Like we're gonna jump in and I'm gonna show you, like, done deal. But like I know that this is like a taller order for you because you're starting than it is for me, who have been doing this. I've been doing this for 15 years. But pulling a grad through your cuts will give it that like extra level of depth, little extra level of like form. And it's super easy to do, and so it'll work well for you. It's something that you want to learn how to do, for sure. Let's get back to the thing. But I will say that I like this like green-brown motif that you have going for this stuff. It was colored very straight in the original Next Wave pages. And I'm sure it was very tempting to just you're watching Black Magic. Yeah. I'm sure it was very tempting to just do what they did, but I like that you got a little out of your comfort zone. This like green brown stuff was like real trendy in like early 2000s. And so it has a nice place in my heart. I just wish that you put as much thought as you did in here into like this stuff. By continuing this like brown motif, you do yourself a disservice. You want to start to think about like picture yourself in the places. Like you're in the field and then you're in the cold vacuum of space. How do each of those things feel, you know? And then try to convey that. Show us the grad again slowly. What settings did I have? I don't even remember. Hold on. Shit. So let's do another Machine Man grad. So let's grab all the Machine Man stuff. So I just like color picked this. It's set to screen 50%. I mean, I don't know. It's not rocket science. I just pulled it kind of twice in there. till it looked nice. There's no like right way to do it, you know? Like you just do it long enough and you figure it out, kind of thing. And like just like yeah, just like anything, you do it long enough and you start to find what works for you. Like I would do this, and then I would take this dark color, set a brush 50%, and then like kind of go in here and be like, okay, let's add like another layer of shadow, like in here, you know, do something like little rib cage kind of thing. And that adds like a little extra layer in there of like, you know, not rocket science for you. Yeah, this is the thing. It's like this is all practice and you know, like I said, when I watched Lee do it, I was like, oh, this will be easy. And then when I got home, I was like, oh God, what have I gotten myself into? And let me tell you, those Jimmy Neutron pages, they did not look good when I got done with them. that was a little bit of a mess, and I was a mess in the beginning of my career. I will fully admit. We'll do. I actually found some stuff from early in my career, and we'll do a 15-year retrospective of. I will critique the pages that I did early in my career versus now. One of these days on stream. Okay. Screen opacity. Yeah. You need all the settings. Okay. So, just like Next Wave has a transition in scenes that is part of the reason why that is highlighted, Bone, the goal for these pages were not only to like do a busy scene and kind of make it work. You need to do a coloring one where I break everything down, where we sit there for hours and hours and hours and I move in slow motion. Is that what you're asking for? How many pages is good? God, I don't know. We talked about flatting portfolios. I don't know what flatting portfolios look like. I would say like 2 or 3 and you're good to go. Like, as long as I can see that you're like competent and like good at what you do, then like you're good to go. So, and you're jumping in on these pages early, which I respect. You're hungry. I get that. We're gonna do a stream very soon where I talk about like why these pages are in here and what the goals of these pages are. So you obviously like you jumped in on this stuff without knowing that like the goal of the page is to separate, you know, these two places. Just like the goal of these Bone pages is to pull focus here and to echo the conditions that Jeff Smith is setting up. Now, and you're doing it here where like you're starting to like be like, oh, he's in trouble, like he's surrounded, it's like getting darker. There's like an emotional core to these Bone pages that we've kind of missed a little bit, and also it doesn't feel like daytime. A market is usually like kind of a midday kind of thing, and it's like kind of a grayish day, which is fine, but like you're running into problems. You're running into problems a little bit here because like again your values are a little bit askew. So like you're having similar tones in like his shirt into the background, and it's because it's like this gray day. If you take this, like these people in the background, Jeff, when he drew this, you notice he didn't put like any spot blacks in, and whereas like what's his name, Phony Bone, he has spot blacks. He has like a thicker line weight. And these are all indications of like he is the focus and not the people in the back. And you've given the people in the back the same kind of treatment as you did for Phony Bone. And like this is kind of a running narrative in a lot of the work that I've seen you do, is you're not thinking about this, like you're cranking out the work, which I respect for sure. Like you should be cranking out the work because we got to get all the bad work out of the way before we start doing good work. I still feel like I'm getting bad work out of the way, but so we take this and we kind of like run a grad through the background here, and now we're having a separation of background and foreground. We're having you know, like this feels like middle of the day. When Jeff made this, it was like, okay, like we really want like a dynamic range of value in Phony Bone up here, and like not a big deal for these guys back here. They're an afterthought. There's like a fucking word balloon in front of them. They're not important, and they should be treated like they are not important. And if that's harsh, I'm sorry. But like, yeah, so like this is like kind of what I mean by like you kind of gave yourself problems, because what are we doing? You kind of gave yourself problems in that you kind of made it a gray day. And by making it a gray day, you're like, how did I do those selections? I just selected it with the lasso. So by making it a gray day, you're like, everything's very gray. If that makes sense. So like with like, when I think of like gray kind of stuff, I think like Silent Hill. And Silent Hill, kind of like things are kind of like disappearing into the shadows. It's very like flat kind of thing. It looks imagery is flat. And that's not where you want to be for these kinds of pages. Also, like, you want the viewer here, so like it's okay to use white. Like you can make, you know, the bones here, you can make them white. Are we making them white? I don't even know. Yes, now we are making them white. Oh my god, it's too white. I mean, I'm lens flaring them, but like, you know, maybe that's not what you should do for bone pages. You probably shouldn't treat bone pages like a superhero page. But yeah, so it's okay to use like pure white on those guys. And then when we're looking at like the bricks here, like we can kind of like trick what everybody else is doing. Like we can make these bricks pull the focus to the bones by doing something like this, by putting a radial grad through it. J.J. Abrams' bone. Yeah, exactly. I mean, you'd stand out. But by kind of like putting a gradient through the bricks there, and then we're going to actually change the color a little bit and the saturation a little bit. By doing that, you're kind of like pulling the focus here, and we can take everything else in the panel and kind of like do the same thing, multiply, reverse 50%, something like that. Like you want, and this is like super heavy handed, but like this is the mentality of the page. Like you want your viewer here, not all over the place. And what we have is right now is like kind of like a loose focus. Like there's no focus here. Like, and you have like kind of the dog looking at them, so you kind of have these like cliff notes. Like you can make, you know, like this guy in shadow and put like everything else over here. You can put this whole side in shadow, and then you can put this guy in shadow, and then this guy's literally pointing at them, and the dog is looking at them. Like you have all these indications. Like Jeff Smith set this page up really, really well. And just by doing that, we've suddenly, like, now we're looking at where we want to be looking. We're doing the storytelling that we need to do. I would say that only because, well, sorry guys, only because I feel like the bone pages didn't hit the mark, like storytelling wise, value wise, and then the palette is all kind of all over the place. I think you were just like overwhelmed with this stuff. Like I think the sheer amount of detail and like the stuff going on might have overwhelmed you a little bit. We can do a bone page on stream one of these days. We'll do it sometime soon, so that you can kind of like see where my thought process is. Now the other thing about these bone pages is that you have like, so they're like arguing here, right? You got to get in there and live with the pixels. Yeah. So in this page, they're closing in on him. Like Bone is alone and they're closing in, and like you can convey this through color. If we have like a bright page in the corner, whoa. If we have like a brighter page in the corner, like I'm really, whoa, I'm bleeding into all the other stuff. And it feels bright. Like this is, I'm exaggerating it to like I said, we're heavy-handed on this stream. If you do that, you can make it get darker and darker as you go down, as Bone is in more and more trouble. Like you can kind of like throw a grad there, but like make the guy and Bone kind of like hiding, you know. So like you link him to Bone by like putting him in shadow with Bone, and then like for this panel, we can put everything in shadow except for like the houses and the guy back here. If I can eventually make the selection. Not screen. Multiply. Invert the selection, please. Please, Photoshop. I don't understand why Photoshop isn't taking my voice commands today. Photoshop does not have voice commands. Don't think that it does. And then, like, eventually, you have, like, more and more darkness, like, close in on him. So he starts from a place of safety, and he ends in a place where he's like, oh shit, it's going down, you know? Like, you end in a place where the only light spot is like through the guys. The best part of these portfolios reviews, it's not technical stuff in the color theory. You really highlight how coloring is part of the storytelling process. Yeah. So like by doing it this way, it's like Bone is in safety, and then it's like he's starting to get into trouble, and we would actually kind of like highlight here too, and then he's like, oh, these guys, we want to make them like a visual wall, you know, between bone and safety. And it's like, oh, oh, oh. Like they've closed in on him. And that's kind of like the goal of these pages is to set that up. Not only navigate a color theory through a busy marketplace via washes of color, but also like talk about like how to direct the eye in a busy marketplace and how to make you feel like Bone feels through the page. Yeah. All right, let's do Stray Bullets pages. I think Stray Bullets pages are your best pages. I'm very excited about these pages. I don't even have like really anything to say about these pages because they're that good. Like there's like little things, little nitpicky things that I would do. Like I would kind of like put like the taste buds and make them real gross on the tongue, but like you're using like a brush with like a little bit of roughness in here and it looks really good with David's page. You like knocked out the line work here. It looks awesome. The color theory of like the red hair with the green shirt in this aqua room is like this like mustard desat red all looks dope. Like I love all of this stuff that's going on here, and you're pulling the same red that from the hair to like the rage down here, and this you nailed the moment. Like should be doing it like that. The only thing I would do is like a lot of these pages are depending a lot on setting up a consistent color, like sense of place. And by making this back wall gray instead of this blue and like this yellow, you kind of like gray yellow thing. So like us as a viewer are going to be like, oh, the classroom's gray yellow, but like it's blue here. So you want to set that up. Like you want to do that. You can So like I said, you can like accentuate the tongue by making it grosser and grosser and grosser as it goes. You can also like play with storytelling like by making it like kind of like close in on the lick in like a really gross way. This is fucking with your good color theory, but like something like that, like this space that you get to play in on this page like is so fun. Go nuts. Like there's absolutely nothing wrong with this page, but you can get crazy with this moment. Absolutely. Okay. So because you shift from, here's what's going on. So you set up this aqua that's like real great, and then it's gray and yellow, but it's only gray and yellow in like these spots. So if you're not paying attention to that, and it's gray down here. So if you're not paying attention to that, you can potentially be disoriented by this panel. And this panel is the last one that you see before you change scenes. So, and because you're using a red here, and the red is tied into the color theory that you have going on, this doesn't read as a scene transition. At some point, you need to back off the good color theory that you got going on here. So we need to take the classroom and make it feel aqua. I'm gonna try to do that the best I can. So we make it feel aqua. I would maybe keep this, but return it to normalcy in this next panel, because we're gonna need like the grounding of like, oh, this is an aqua room. I would maybe even aqua up the floor a little bit. By doing that, this reads better as a scene transition. And you can even like knock it up just like a little bit, warm this up a little bit, because like the parents are in hot water, so we just like opened up the color balance and like tweaked it slightly, and that way you get like different skin tones from panel to panel. But yeah, I think that like the like transition that you made here is so good. These pages, I can't, like, Barry, my dude, like, there's a lot of like good color theory happening with like limited palette stuff in here. It's real great. Like, it can be punched up a little bit more, but like, dude, I see it coming together for you. Like, this is your strongest work, far and away. And then let's look at some Hellboy pages. So, okay, it's just this one page. Firstly, I would say that the thing that I said about Tim Sale being a very unique artist, and that when you turn in, I don't know if I did actually say this, Tim Sale is a very unique artist. When you turn in pages that are Tim Sale pages in a portfolio, it doesn't inform me that you can handle it. All it tells me is that you can handle Tim Sale pages. It doesn't necessarily tell me that you can handle anybody else. You know, when you do Jim Lee pages, Jim Lee is incredible at what he does, but there are a host of people who are lining up behind Jim Lee doing what he does, for better or worse, similarly. Like, I can look at Jim Lee pages and be like, oh, like, if you knock these out of the park, you can do any superhero pages. When I look at Tim Sale pages, I'm like, you did these really well. I have no idea if I put you on this other book that I have going, if it's going to work, because it's not Tim Sale on this book. Unless you're trying to get Tim Sale's attention, unless you're trying to get Mike Mignola's attention, like, it's tough to I don't know, justify. You know what I mean? I like these pages. There's not a whole lot to talk about here. Like, you have really good scene transition, but it's so stylized that like, it's like, how could you not? It's good that you're doing that, because it means you're thinking about it, and I want you thinking about that more. Basically, I would say, like, the long and short of this is, we've been talking for like an hour and 20. The long and short of these pages is like, there's two things okay. First of all, thank God you cut the portfolio down, because like, this is a solid group of pages, and the portfolio is presented professionally. It tells me you're ready to work. Which is a step up from the last time. Also a step up from the last time is you're only putting sequentials in. Boom, done. A step up from the last time is that I can see you thinking more about color theory, especially in these Stray Bullets pages. Like, you were thinking more about color theory in these Stray Bullets pages, I think, than I've ever seen you think about color theory before. Which is awesome. It's awesome. I would, if I were you, because I see you like chomping at the bit. I see you posting stuff all the time, and I have your comic that from Charlotte Heroes that you gave me, which is awesome. I think that if you're not currently working on something, if something doesn't have the deadline, what I urge you to do is slow down, take a breath, don't try to finish it fast, and just think about the page. Like, look at the black and whites and think about what the artist is trying to represent. Where are they using spot blacks? How are they directing your eye? Think about the place that you're coloring and try to imagine it around you. Like, we've all, like, you know, I don't know if we've all been in the forest or like whatever, but it's like, you know, we certainly all haven't been to outer space, but we can imagine the difference between the forest and outer space. And that's what this page needs to convey. And currently it doesn't do that, but I think that if you just slow down, it can do that. I would say too that like the color theory that we see on this page with like limited palette, like when I say like color theory limited palette, this is exactly what I'm talking about. You have like reds and greens. The skin tones are falling in like with these orangey reds. It's red and green. It doesn't read like Christmas, which is awesome. The stuff that's not red and green is slightly desaturated so that you're amping up more of the red and green stuff. You're like leaning into that. The blue on the cupcake is like separate enough from everything else to make it stand out. This is good, solid color theory. When I look at this, like especially this last page, I know these like, what are they? Eternals? God, I don't know what they're called. Does he say what they are? Celestials. When I look at this, especially this last panel, I see that you were like kind of overwhelmed. Like you're doing like green, purple, beige on top of beige with red and blue. You're like all over the place. And I think that if you slow down, take a breath, and think before you act, you will do yourself a greater service. You will make pages that reflect the places that they are, you know? And I think you're capable. Like I see it in the Red Sonja stuff. I see it in the Critical Hit. Like the Stray Bullets is like I said, really good. You do it in the Conqueror Worm pages, but I feel like these pages, just for whatever reason, either you rushed through them or you had to look up the Celestials and those are their colors. Well, look, we can all take liberties here, even if these are the colors for the Celestials. Like, whenever I have like a ridiculous superhero, we can all like just kind of like wash it a little bit, and then we can tune down the green like that. Like this still reads, and I know that was very fast, but what I did was I washed the whole thing with blue to like kind of unify the palette a little bit, and then I took the green that was on that guy and I put a fuck ton of white in it to make it still read as green, but like work a little better, you know? So like maybe that's the thing that's bogging you down. Like maybe the thing that's bogging you down from like, you know, these pages is that like you went into these pages and you were like, I can do whatever I want. And then when you went into this page, you were like, I'm locked into what these guys look like. And I don't want you to feel like you're locked in. Like you should, anyone should do this. Anyone that like sits down and like starts to color, like there's no right way to do it. There's no like way it's supposed to look. You have so much wiggle room between like the local Joe colors of the Celestials and what it's like in outer space. So, you know, you should roll with that. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what else to say other than that. Like, I would go in and kind of retool this scene for the next wave pages, because that shouldn't take you too long. And you'll get two sequential pages out of that. Not only get two sequential pages out of that, but you will like get, you know, good pages out of it, like recognizable pages. Like right now, I think your portfolio should be this Conqueror Worm page, which I'm medium on for the same reason about the Tim Sale stuff. I would cut the Long Halloween sample page. You You have to go later, guys. Later, graffiti. I would cut the long Halloween sample page. I don't think it's doing you any favors. I don't think it's doing anything that you're not doing in other pages better. And also, it's got the Tim Sale, Mike Mignola problem. Whereas, like, I can see that you do Mike Mignola, like, pretty well, but I'm not hiring you. Like, realistically, you're not being hired for Mike Mignola stuff because that's Dave Stewart's job. So it's like, you don't want to even mess with that kind of stuff. But the page looks good, so keep it in. So I would cut the long Halloween page. I'd definitely retool the next wave page. If you want to tackle the bone pages, I would absolutely tackle the bone pages. And I would just like treat what you got down there like flats and just like go to town again. I would just take another pass on it. And there is one glaring omission here that we have to address. Barry, you handed me all these flatted pages for Batman, and there's no Batman here. It's fine. If you did the pages and they didn't turn out the way you wanted them to, or you felt like they were weaker than these pages, I wouldn't say put them in the portfolio. But I think it's interesting that they're gone. You should give them a crack, or at least one. Like when we talked about the pages in your first portfolio review, I said that you should try to do at least one of those pages that are like a little more simpler, and try to do it well, just to put in the portfolio. But dude, even if you like, let's talk about the state of your portfolio real quick. Even if you tweak these next wave pages, and not even the full pages, just the flashback. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 panels. 6 panels here, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pages ready to go in the can. From there, I would tweak the bone pages, maybe do another pass on them, and then you have a portfolio ready to go. Like you're good to go. So yeah, I hope that this helps you. I want you to think more about value. And I want you to envision, this is like so corny, but envision the places that people are and think about a color that best describes, a single color that best describes that place. And once you have that color, then you have, like, it's so like crunchy granola, feel good, new age crap. I understand that. But like, once you have that color, it will inform the page, inform the scene, and you will be able to like better connect with the page that you have down. And it just takes slowing down. Let me think about if there's anything else that we should talk about. We'll do I mean, we kind of like ran through like the storytelling and color theory on this page, but we'll do this page on stream so you can see exactly what I'm talking about one of these days. But yeah, I feel like you're getting there. You're like 99% there. You're like almost ready to hire. If I saw the same thought in these Stray Bullets pages as I did in everything else, I would hire you in a heartbeat. Like, no problem. The things that give me pause are like these bone pages and the long Halloween pages, mostly these two. So yeah, I hope that helped you. Let's make sure that the links work. Not only that, but like, not only do we make sure the links work, but we're throwing up Barry's info. By the way, everyone should follow him. Barry's a cool dude. His info is right down there. Follow him on Twitter. He's in the Discord all the time. If you guys want a portfolio review, if you looked at this portfolio review and you were like, oh shit, I gotta get mine, subscribe to this channel and hop in the Discord, and which the link is right below me, and drop off your portfolio and we'll tackle it on stream. The good thing about this one is that like Barry handed a portfolio 6 months ago. He handed a portfolio in now, and we have perspective. We've seen his growth. Like the portfolio, like honest to God, Barry, the portfolio that you handed in the first time around was like kind of all over the place. You had old work, new work. It was like, thank you for the Discord link is in the chat. Thank you, Nimish. You had old work, new work. You were scattered, and this is like a focused machine. Like you are like you have cleaned up to a professional level, and it's just about making sure that you have like the work, like just push it over the edge just a little bit, and you're good to go. Yeah, man. Like you're almost there. It's just gonna take a little persistence. See you in 6 months. Hopefully. I wanna revisit again. I want you to circle back. So yeah, and if you have Amazon Prime, you can subscribe to the channel for free. You link your Amazon Prime to your Twitch to the Discord, link it all together, and you can subscribe for free and drop your portfolio off, and I will spend an hour and a half talking about your work, which is not something you can get from a lot of professional comic book artists out there. So yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. You're almost at 6 months. Oh, Nimish. We're gonna get that follow-up. We should get that follow-up. Now I gotta hop into YouTube and figure out who else is almost at their 6 months. I gotta start tracking people down. Busted kneecaps. Where's my portfolio? We gotta talk color. So anyway, guys, I hope that you found this whole thing enlightening. I hope that this helped you on the road as far as your own work goes. I hope that Barry is on the road. He looks like he's on the road. Oh, fuck, man. I loved those Stray Bullets pages. He was knocking it out of the park for those. Yeah, shit. I want to hire that guy. I'm gonna be thinking about those pages later, which is awesome. That's where you want to be. We are gonna be next stream. I'm either gonna, if I have some time Friday, I'm gonna be yeah, whoa, that background. We're in the back computer. It's a digital interface. Ooh. Next stream, if I have time, we will clean up Batman pages and talk about the Ultimate Portfolio, because I need to make time to clean up those pages. We might be live Friday if I make time, if I make good time on this Nightwing 49 that I'm working on right now. If not, we are gonna play something this weekend. I am like jazzed. I got all the stuff set up for Time Crisis, and I've been messing around with it, and it's just giving me a taste. And I want the full meal. I want that Time Crisis meal. So we might be murdering people this weekend, or we might be solving murders. I might decide to finish off the murder mysteries of Jessica Fletcher and that show that Murder, She Wrote. It took me a second to get there. Took me a second. Did I end up working on the pinup that we flatted more? No, we were going to do that today, but Barry turned it in portfolio, which is totally fine. So we're going to be doing the Robert Wilson IV's pinup. We're going to be doing that next week. So that should be next Tuesday at about 2:30 Eastern. So next Tuesday, 2:30 Eastern, we're going to be live again with Robert Wilson IV. And we may be doing some flat stuff, talking flats tomorrow. And we will play some Time Crisis over the weekend. So if you want to see me shoot some bad guys to some hilarious cutscenes, you're more than welcome to join me. Until then, everyone out there, and Barry Hall included, keep making comics.